Very good morning. Thanks, CSI, for giving this opportunity. I feel corneal tear suturing actually should be done by any ophthalmologist because it is the first initial part which saves the eye. So, just to know that the second major cause of corneal blindness, and it is reported one of the most important cause of unilateral vision loss in the developing countries. The types of needles and sutures we can use for these kinds of structures is the conjunctiva, cornea, and sclera. Usually I use the 80 Vicryl and 10-0 nylon. And the 10-0 nylon only for the cornea with a spatulate edge, and for the sclera we use the 80 Vicryl. A pre-op evaluation is must, where you see the vision of the patient, which is mandatory to for medical legal purposes as well. A torchlight examination to see for external structures, because these are the things which we miss when we go directly into the slit lamp. Proper documentation, and if at all any assault is there, we have to take in medical legal cases as well. And the treatment taken and needles to see for the depth of the lesions involved if it is full thickness. This is how we grade based on the partial thickness and full thickness and what are all the options which are available. According to the bit classification also, we can classify the injury. Holding the suture needle is an important thing, where you can see that this is very close to the hub, so the chances of crushing the edge so that the suture edge will be crushed will be more, and this will be an irregular place, not able to give a proper maneuverability. Do not take the needle and start suturing once the assistant gives to you. Always make sure you hold it in a comfortable place before you start suturing. Know your suture material, that is, you should know the depth of the needle, the size, the tip, whether it is spatulated or round tip, and what kind of the material you are using, which is very important for the corneal tear suturing. Main principles is it should be tight, firm and tight. It should be buried well so that you don't have exposed knot, because chances of constant epithelial defect and very symptomatic patient can be there. Always make sure that the ends are short so that the chances of burying is more better. Do not make too much of jerky motions, and it should not be too tight initially, because the chances of astigmatism later on will be too high. A slight difference between the PK suturing and the trauma suturing is there. We all know that there are common things which both should be watertight, there should be minimum scarring, and the corneal contour should be maintained with a normal anatomical relationship. The difference is, in a trauma, the preferred anesthesia is general, the visual axis involvement will be there most of the times, and wound formation is a problem, and graft requirement is needed in penetrating sutures, and we might or might not require additional surgeries. So always make sure that at 90 degrees you start passing the suture needle. Make sure that you use your wrist movement more rather than your hand motion, so that it goes along the curvature, and it is not only the length in which from the wound is there, it's also the depth which is very important. Always maintain the contour of A is equal to B on both sides, because the chances of tissue overriding are more if one of it goes the other side. And once you bury the knot is also very important, because you should lift it up so that while cutting it and removing it, you don't have the whole knot which comes out through the other end. Maintain a proximity of A greater than B, so that the chances of watertight container will be there and it will not have a wound leak problem later on stages. So always maintain an A to B equal anterior. And if it is a shelved wound, make sure that the posterior part is also there in the posterior plane. It should be even, otherwise there will be a tissue override. So if you have a shelved edge. And when you have a vertical slit, always make sure that you suture that first and then you go to the shelve, because the shelve will be relatively closed. Stellate incisions are going to be really tough to handle, where you can make a star shaped incision, and sometimes you can also put a small patch graft or a cyanoacrylate glute in the center. Follow the Roseway Hayes technique, where you have peripheral which are long and deep sutures, and as you come towards the center, let it be short and superficial. So this is just a superficial suture which is done so that the chances of the posterior part closure is not adequate, and there will be a diffuse stromal edema later on. When you go full thickness, there are chances of microbial invasion, and never have one part which is long deeper, so the chances of tissue override will be there on both ways. Always make sure a vertical slit you go equally on both sides, and a slit based you go deep, which is should be equal. Corneal scleral tear, make sure that you suture the limbus first, which is most important for the anatomical fixation, and then you can suture the other two parts. These are few pictures just to show, and always maintain an AB ratio, where I've told you that long deep sutures in the periphery and come smaller towards the center. Need for patch in few cases is also there, so make sure that you are available with the patch. Make sure you do a proper peritomy in cases where the sclera is involved. These are all the multiple complications which can happen in a corneal tear suturing, so always make sure that you follow up the patient as well on a regular basis. Few controversial questions are GA or LA patch or not, foreign body removal when, and the time of interval with the following investigations to be done or not. Post-operative care is very important to these patients. Timely intervention and meticulous evaluation can salvage vision in these compromised eyes. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Nishant. And I thank all the speakers for